the report that came out, Andrew Marchand of the New York Post reported first that it was a 10-year, $375 million deal, which is just astronomical.
Is it, though? We'll get into that.
But then there was some other pushback that maybe it wasn't an accurate number, although he's doubled down and said that he stands by his sourcing on that. Whatever the case may be, Tom Brady is going to be the lead analyst for Fox. He's also going to serve as a company ambassador who's going to help with sponsorships and promotional activities once his career is over with. So Tom Brady, if you're wondering what his plans were after his career is over, apparently he's going to enter into the broadcasting world. He'll be that lead analyst for Fox in what I think is an absolute home run hire. If it seemed a little odd that Fox was pretty quiet after the Troy Aikman, Joe Buck departures, maybe they've been working on this for a little while here. So Tom Brady is now with us here at Fox Sports once his career is over with. How about that? How about Tommy B?
Yeah, a couple narratives about this whole scenario. And they're like, well, around the time that Aikman started talking to other networks, whether that be Amazon or Disney, whoever else you want to talk about, they're like, oh, that's when the discussion started with Tom Brady. Let me be very clear about this. Every network knocks on that door every single year when there's a need, meaning, hey, Peyton, you sure you don't want to come on and do this full-time with us? Now, Disney's finally been able to come to an agreement with Peyton Manning, that is, but it's very different than what this is at least reported to be for Tom Brady. With Peyton Manning, it's an agreement with his company, Omaha Productions, and we don't really get those figures and what it looks like. I'll put it this way. I was told by a source it is in the 9 figures. And depending on how much it costs him to produce certain content and all that, he might be making and pocketing more than what Tom Brady is supposedly making in this deal. So it's a very different structure of what's happening. Tom Brady's basically saying, I don't want to have to worry about putting together the production and a team and a business to do all this. I just want you to pay me a really, really high dollar amount. But let's talk about that dollar amount real quick. So what, $37.5 million it comes out to per year.
Yeah.
Which the crazy part is it's more than every single year he's played in the NFL, including this year, with the exception of 2021, where he got, I think, $39 million. So think about that. For the next 10 years, he will make more than every single year of his 22-year career besides one, which is incredible to think about. But if you really look at the spend, what Fox spends on the NFL per year, I believe the ballpark or figure that I saw is $1.13 billion. 37.5 isn't that much for your number one analyst for your quarterback. That's 3% of what you're already spending on the rights to the NFL. And so when you really look at it, you're like, is that too much? And I think there's people who argue and complain well, I'm going to tune into the game anyway. But LeVar and I talked yesterday about some of those games you're watching on mute. And maybe it's because you like that or you don't want to listen to the analysts. I'll tell you this much. LeVar, are you going to listen to that Tom Brady broadcast on mute?
No, the first one, I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to
it. The Peyton Manning show, you listen to it.
Yeah.
Because you want to hear what they have to say. So for all the people out there who are like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's the matchup. I'm going to bet. I'm going to gamble. I'm a fantasy, whatever. It doesn't matter who's calling it. It does in this case.
Yeah.
And that's why he's going to warrant this much, and the ambassador and everything else that comes along with it, where I'm sure Fox will utilize him. I'm sure we'll get a piece of him on Big Noon Kickoff for Ohio State, Michigan. You better believe when we're in Ann Arbor, Tom Brady's probably going to be there, or he might show up for a segment or two. So all those things I think are out there. I just think it's interesting that people think this is overpayment. And when you're actually looking at maybe the marketplace of analysts, you go, yeah, it's a lot more than others are making. But we also don't really know what Peyton Manning's pocketing when it's all said and done. I think that figure is pretty competitive. If you're asking me, I think it's pretty competitive when it's all said and done what Peyton's putting in his pocket after all his Omaha Productions and the Monday Night Football on ESPN2 packages all said and done.
First of all, people have to understand there's a formula that these companies use in shelling out the contract that they're going to shell out. They're not going to, not even for Tom Brady, they're not going to break their formula. I mean, that's the business practice of it. Whatever it is that they're offering him, the percentage of what that is going to generate is going to be an astronomical profit for them as well. And then not to mention, name one advertising company, agency. Name one company that would not want to bid on being a part of whatever it is that's connected to Tom Brady with Fox. Like, name one. And that's the thing about it, right? If you're bringing that to the table, you're a golden goose. Like Tom Brady is not a goat. He's a goose, and he's laying gold in the eggs. And that's the reality of it here, is that to monetize him that way is ultimately telling you the market has spoken. They've done, you know how much they've probably invested in seeing what that would cost or what that would generate to have him and his brand connected to what they're doing. It becomes the number one show, the number one broadcast, period, immediately. It's already that right now, and he's still playing. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to follow that pattern, but it's also something that, I mean, he earned it. You know, he's earned the right to command that type of attention, those type of dollars, and that type of opportunity. So for all the people out there that feel like that's too much, I mean, you clearly don't understand how important or how much weight being considered one of the greatest athletes of all time, what that represents, especially in the football arena. That it's one of the arenas, it's one of the categories where the best of the best and the most famous of the best are rewarded with the spoils of everything connected to the accomplishment that took place within that game. I will say, even at my level, even at my tier of accomplishment, that S is crazy. It's crazy the amount of opportunities that you receive because of what you were able to accomplish as an active player, and he's the best of us all. So I don't find it to be surprising. Congratulations to him. And I certainly will. I'm a fan of Tom Brady. I've never made it a secret. I've always been a fan of him. I used to whip his ass in college. He got the last laugh of it. But the idea of it is, I think he's a fine dude. He's actually a super entertaining dude. I've spent a lot of time around him in personal environments. A cool dude to hang around, down-to-earth dude. And I think we got a chance to see it when they won the Super Bowl in Tampa. But as a TV analyst, I think people will get an opportunity to really figure out that Tom Brady actually is a pretty freaking entertaining dude, just like we found out about Peyton. You know, Peyton Manning is a funny dude. Like on the sneak, his personality is that quirky, like corny type of deal, but it's funny. It's funny. Like it entertains me. So, I mean, you're talking about like we said, he's the best of the best. And I thought that was a great win for Fox. And then to announce it now, so now you've put a lot of attention on Fox. You're basically putting it out there that everybody needs to be on call and on notice that we got him. So whatever it is that y'all going to pony up, y'all better start saving y'all coins right now if y'all went in on this.
And it's also, there's been this discussion now, well, just because it's Tom Brady doesn't mean he's going to be good at it. Okay, well, I've been hearing for 4 years that Tony Romo's good, and I completely disagree, and I've disagreed since day one. So it's to each his own. Everybody's got their own flavor when it comes to this stuff. I love Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. I thought they've been one of the top broadcasting teams in the sport, or in sports period, for a long time. And yeah, you're intrigued to see what they're going to do at ESPN, but I sort of know what they are. This works, and it's going to work in my mind for two reasons. Number one, because of the intrigue factor that Brady pointed out. I want to watch. I want to see it, and it's not going to be one of these, well, I gave him a first half or I gave him one game and then I'm out. No, I want to see how this develops, because I think everybody acknowledges, and you guys would know this better than me because you've called games. You're better from your first game to your second game. You probably grow light years just in that regard when it comes to broadcasting, but also it's Tom Brady. I don't see him failing at a lot. I don't see him putting his name on something or committing to something just because it's a money grab. He doesn't need the money. I think he's going to put the effort in. I think he's going to be he's going to try and figure out how to get better at this whole thing. And if it's a 10-year deal, he's probably going to improve light years from game 1 to game 2, year 1 to year 2, et cetera, et cetera. I don't see how this fails either from a business standpoint or just from his broadcasting standpoint. I think he's going to be fantastic.